Today I'm making my dinner. I'm making an early dinner because I had a very, very light lunch today. So I'm making Singapore curry noodle. It's a kind of a stir-fry noodle that's really delicious, very quick to make. But before I start, I want to tell you the history of this noodle. Well, when you hear Singapore curry noodle, you typically think it comes from Singapore, right? Well, it doesn't. Singapore curry noodle was actually invented in Hong Kong during the British Empire and during the trade. You know, that time in Hong Kong and all that, Hong Kong was like the main hub for trade. So basically, some of the Cantonese chefs actually in Hong Kong, they used the curry powder that came from India. India was very, very huge in trade during that time. They used curry powder and they came up with this dish. So it's really a blend of the Oriental thing and also with that Indian curry powder. The star of this dish is actually the curry powder. That's what typically makes out this dish. And since then, if you go to Singapore, actually, you will not find this dish. If you do one, two restaurants, but it is not a Singapore dish. So basically, if you see anyone saying Singapore curry noodle, just know it is not a Singaporean dish. It came from Hong Kong, and it's really, really very popular in Malaysia too, and across Australia and most of the other southeastern countries, Southeast Asian countries. So basically, that's for the history. So typically, this noodle, the main ingredient, of course, your star will be the curry powder, which I'll come back to that later. But the noodle you're going to use is rice noodles, vermicelli. It's those very thin rice noodles. Now, I've already prepared mine. You will, when you get your rice noodles, your vermicelli, look at the back of the package on how you're supposed to prepare it, or how long you need to blanch it in hot water. Some of it is just for like 20, 30 seconds, some like a minute and stuff like that. But mine, I don't follow that. I follow how I was taught since I was young, how to do it. When I have time actually, I typically soak them in room temperature tap water. That's it, just room temperature water. And I leave it there for like 20, 30 minutes. So I get these perfect noodles. They are like, when you cook with it, it's so perfect. It's not overdone. And yeah, this is how I like to do mine. So you do you. Now, there are a few ingredients that you will use for this dish. Mainly, let me just share with you. Okay, for the aromatics, you will use garlic and onion. You can use red or yellow onions, but you will cut them lengthwise, okay, and then separate them. And then capsicum, green and red capsicum, and carrots, all sliced thinly. You want to mimic the shape of the vermicelli. So all your ingredients, you're actually going to slice them thin, mimic. And then here you can use garlic chives or spring onions. I'm using spring onion today. So the whites and the greens, I've separated them, cut them into like 2-inch or 1.5-inch sections, and then thin them out. You don't want thick chunks in your vermicelli, you know, because your vermicelli is such a dainty noodle. So you want something that's, well, dainty as well. So they all look good together. So these are all your vegetables and your garlic. Of course, 1 clove garlic. I used about 1/4 of a yellow onion, and then 1/3 of capsicum each, small capsicum anyway, and then of course 1 spring onion. Now that's for your vegetable and your aromatics. Okay. You will need your egg. I'm making this dish for 1 person, so I'm only going to use 1 egg today. All right. You can use 2 if you want to. Now, the protein for this is usually, typically, traditionally, they use Cantonese barbecue pork or char siu. In Malaysia, we have a thing called char siu, or Hong Kong. It's you can slice it and then add this to the dish, and shrimp. That's what they use. But if you're a vegetarian, of course, you can just go with your tofu and your vegetables. But mine for today, I'm just going to use shrimp. I'm not going to use any barbecue pork. I'm not really a pork eater as well. So though I cook for others, but not for myself. So I'm just going with shrimp. I've got about 7 shrimps here. I've already added white pepper, a little bit of sesame oil, and just a little bit of curry powder. And I marinated them for just a bit. You just can marinate and straight cook with it. You don't have to keep them long for marination. Now, the star ingredient is curry powder. So curry powder, this I make it myself. I've added turmeric on the side, and this is the curry powder. Curry powder consists of many ingredients. It's not chili, yeah? It's curry, like cumin, cardamoms, cloves, star anise. There's a lot of stuff, and then you grind it together. You can buy it in any of the grocery stores or Asian grocery stores, even big supermarkets. You have it all over the world, actually. Now, to get more color for this dish, I added turmeric as well. Usually it's curry powder and turmeric. But if your curry powder is already very yellow, like they've added a lot of turmeric, then you don't need additional turmeric on the side. Okay, so this is the star of the dish. Now, and white pepper, of course, when you're cooking. Now, some of them, they add oyster sauce to this and soy sauce as well. Well, and some don't. They just go only with the curry powder and then salt and the white pepper. I'm just going to add the curry powder and white pepper. And instead of salt, I'm just going to use only light soy sauce at the end, just a little bit. That's also another thing you can use. Why many of us don't use actually oyster sauce? Because it's too strong and it overpowers the dish, and it takes away from the curry powder taste, which is supposed to be the star of the dish. So that's why I'm not going with oyster sauce, but if you want to, you do you. But this is amazing the way it is already. So we have all our ingredients. Now, let's get cooking. First things first, we're going to put on our stove. All right. Now I'm going to put it first. We're going to cook our eggs and then our shrimp. So I'm going to put it on low to medium. All right. That's what I'm going to be doing. And then all right, let it heat up first a little bit. If you're using a wok, make sure your wok is heated through before you add your oil. I'm not using a wok, I'm using a pan, so just about a tablespoon of oil will do. Don't need much actually for this. All right, so we're going to heat that up now. Okay, it's a very easy dish. If I'm not talking, I usually prep everything within like about 5 to 10 minutes, and then the cooking time is also another 7-8 minutes, and that's it. Within 12 to 15 minutes, I have a dish. But today I'm talking, so it's nice. You get to know a little bit of what this dish is about. And if you want to make them, honestly, it's so delicious, this dish, and it's so quick to put together, and it's so budget friendly. If you can typically use any protein you want to add chicken with shrimp, or you don't want to add that, you just want to go with vegetarian, because your egg is already a protein as well. But if you are not adding any of those, and if you're a vegetarian, then just go for tofu. And then follow the rest of the steps as they are. So I'm going to crack in the egg first. Okay, I'm just using one egg. And then I'm leaving some oil for the shrimp. Alright, so that's it. I'm just going to bring it down low. And to the egg, I'm just going to add very little salt, just a sprinkling, and a little bit of white pepper, just very little. Okay. You want to actually cook your egg till it's like golden, so just mix it, because you want to break them up. This is going to be, yeah. Easier if you want everything to be yellow, just beat the eggs before you add it in, or the moment you add it in, just mix them up together. Now, here I'm also going to go with the shrimp, because the shrimp is very fast to cook. So add in my shrimp, and I'm going to take them out. Okay. I'm going to leave one side to sear. This will only take you about probably 30-40 seconds, and then turn over. The moment it turns color on one side, turn them over. But this shrimp is going to be beautiful in color because there's curry powder on it, so that's another thing. Okay. Your egg, because you want your eggs really golden. This is not like how certain of the dishes when I do the egg is cooked. Just you want to cook the eggs a little more, and then yeah. Okay, just a little bit. Just a little. Okay. I'm starting to see my prawn curling, so I'm going to turn them over. Alright, this is just nice. I usually use chopsticks when I cook, making it easier for you to see, so I'm going with. Okay. Alright. So the other side, they need to cook long. Okay. Just a few seconds and then you can actually remove. Now, when you remove this, to make your life easy, you don't want too many bowls for washing. Just remove them into the dish that you're going to be eating your dinner in. Just going to be having mine in a bowl. So. Alright, that's it. Add all into a bowl. Now, the same pan. We're going to quickly do our vegetables. This is going to be now on medium-high heat. A little more oil. That's it. And the first thing we're going to add is actually our carrot capsicum, because this takes a little longer to cook. But you don't want to overcook your vegetables because you want to leave them to still have that slight crunch. But if you're the kind who's not comfortable with that kind of a crunch, then cook a little more till it's very soft. But usually this is cooked, then they get a little soft but still has that, that crunch. Now the onions don't take long to cook, so the onions are going to let this cook first for a while and then I'm going to add in the onions. So this first. Then I'll add the onion and garlic. Now I'm going to add the garlic first for the aroma to pick up. Some of them, they like their carrots and all that really soft. Well, you can do as you like, but I prefer to have mine cooked but slightly crunchy. So I cut them all very thin. Anytime you're cutting your ingredients for the dish, try to always mimic the main item of the dish so that it looks nicer and it's easier to eat as well. Okay, I'm going with the yellow onions. Alright, this will be very quick. You want to increase your heat to high. This is going to be this will need to cure a few seconds. I want my onions to have that crunch still. So maybe another 5-10 seconds. Then go in with the white parts of the spring onion only, not the green parts, only the white parts. Now, you don't want to cook this long. You want to, yes, this is perfect. Remove and add this to your same dish. Alright, add this as well. Wait, hold on. Okay. Now, here we're going to add a little oil and show you what's going to be done here. Okay, just a little oil. Now here, you're going to add your curry powder and your turmeric. Now, add this according to your preference. Lower the heat first. You don't want your curry powder to turn bitter and get overcooked. So, I'm going to add about a teaspoon. Okay, that's it. 1.25 teaspoons. If you like it stronger, add more. If you like it milder, add less. But this will be just right. Now, you're going to heat them up just for a little while in the oil. You don't want to keep this too long, it's because then they will get too bitter. Add a bit of white pepper, this part. All right. Okay. And now you want to go in with your noodles. You're going to immediately mix them on high heat so your noodles pick up the color and gets toasted as well. Notice the noodles, they're picking up a beautiful color and they get toasted as well at the same time. So this on high heat, increase your heat. Okay. Want them to be cooked evenly. While you're doing this, leave them to toast. Okay. This is the part you're going to add just a little bit of soy sauce, light soy sauce, not dark soy sauce. You can add a little dark if you want to, but I'm only going a little light soy sauce. So that's going to be our salt and the slight umami. That's it. Okay. Now here, make sure your heat is on very high. That is the trick for the noodles not to stick together as well. Okay. Now here, you're going to add in all the ingredients. All of it back. And just going to mix this together so that the noodle picks up the flavors and the rest of the ingredients pick up the flavors from the noodle. I like my dish usually with more vegetables and stuff like that and less noodles, so that's how I'm doing mine. Okay, that's it. Your dish is actually done. Now add in your green parts of your spring onion and turn off the heat. Okay, what you're going to do now is just give it a quick taste and see if everything is good or if you need to add anything. I'm going to give it a very quick taste test. Okay. This is so beautiful, right? Okay, I'm going to give it a quick taste test. It's just nice. I don't need anything. The curry flavor has come through beautifully. And then the soy sauce is added that slight mild umami because it's a light soy sauce. And it's given that saltiness, that's mild saltiness, so you don't need to add salt. And the white pepper comes through as well. And wow. Seriously, a beautiful dish. And your prawns will taste great because you marinated that with curry powder and white pepper. So. It's really good. I make this actually pretty often. And do try them. And I hope you enjoy them. And I'll see you again on another live. And take care. Bye.